Hello, everyone. Welcome to How to Get Your Resume in Front of Hiring Managers by Career Skyrocket. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes around 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat box and I'll get to them as I can. So we'll get started in about 5 more minutes. If anyone is online, feel free to drop a chat in the chat box now. I see there's more people starting to join the webinar. Awesome. Happy to have you guys. Feel free to leave a comment in the chat box. Now, if you have any questions beforehand, just kind of leave your comments in the chat box and I'll get to them. Again, we're going to be starting in about 3 minutes around 12 noon. We're going to start promptly at 12 noon. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you type a response in the chat? Going to get started in about 1 more minute. Going to start around 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I would like to know. So send something in the chat box. If you're online and you're viewing this presentation, type something in the chat box so I can know you can hear me. It should be on your right side of your screen. All right, it's 12 noon. We're gonna get started. So I know there'll probably be some people joining us later on. There's always, kind of like people joining like 5 minutes later on these webinars. But thank you guys for joining me today. My name is Darius Harris. I'm the owner of Career Skyrocket. Career Skyrocket is a professional resume writing, career coaching, and training service. We work with clients all across the United States, helping them with their career needs. So if people needs help with resume writing or career coaching or anything, they can't find direction, that's what we kind of specialize in, is helping people to find and pursue their passion. Today we're going to be talking about how to get your resume in front of hiring managers. A lot of people are applying for opportunities now, and they're just not getting any callbacks, or they're not hearing anything from employers. So today we're gonna try to help you guys with that problem of getting your resume in front of those hiring managers. So having a direct interaction with employers, which will really increase your chances of landing an interview. So let's get moving. And again, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to leave a question in the chat box. I can see it, and I'm not sure if you guys can. It seems like you should be able to see it on the right side of your screen. So if you can see the chat, um, type something in there so I can know you guys can see it. But we're gonna get moving. I'm gonna save a copy of this recording, and I'm gonna send it out to everyone who registered for this webinar. So you don't really need to take a ton of notes because I'm gonna send it out to you. So let's get started. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. So what are most people doing? If you guys can see the chat box on the side over there on the right, how are you conducting your job search now? What do you do when you're conducting a job search? And I'll kind of wait a few minutes to see what your response is. Are you using job boards? Or are you going directly to the source? What things are you guys using now when you're looking to uh, apply for jobs or inquire about opportunities? I'm not sure if you guys are seeing the chat box, but we'll keep moving. Um, so as you can see on the screen, it's showing that more than 94% of job seekers use online job boards, according to HireClicks, a digital advertising agency. Most people are going online. So they're going to Indeed, they're going to Monster, they're going to these big job boards, and they're spending hours and hours of time on job boards applying for jobs. As you can see underneath that, it's showing half of all new jobs are filled before they ever make it to the online posting. So you have to do something different. You got to do something different. Most of these jobs are being filled before they ever even get to an online job board. So we're going to talk more to that kind of moving forward. So does it seem like, your resumes are not getting any responses? You're kind of just throwing them into a black hole, which most of the people I'm talking to, that's the way they feel. They feel like they're applying for jobs, but they're just not hearing any feedback from employers, or they get like the standard email saying that the job was filled, and they'll keep their resume on file for 6 months to a year for another opportunity to kind of occur. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It makes you want to pull your hair out at times because, you really need a job. You feel like you're a really good fit for the opportunity, yet you're not hearing anything back. You're not hearing any type of feedback or anything. You're just getting a rejection email sent to you, more than likely by a computer. It's not even an actual person that's sending you those emails. So these are some of the reasons why you need to go directly to the source. There's so many obstacles in place now when you're applying via online job boards or employer websites. One being the applicant tracking system, or the ATS, that you guys may or may not have heard of. And what it does is companies they don't have the time to spend looking through hundreds or sometimes thousands of resumes that people use when they're looking for an applicant. So what they do is they set up these applicant tracking systems to serve as a way to store resumes for future reference, as well as a way to sift through resumes that's going to be a better match for what they're looking for. So essentially, what the applicant tracking system does is it scans resumes for keywords, terms, and it ranks them. So based on your resume, if it has the keywords and terms that the system is programmed to look for, then it'll rank them and it'll actually get in front of the recruiter. Now, if your resume doesn't have the keywords and terms and things that they have programmed the system to look for, what'll happen is it'll just get rejected. It'll go it will never get in front of the hiring manager. So that's when you get those emails back saying, "Hey, we filled this position," or the position has been filled, but we'll keep your resume on file for 6 months to a year. Essentially, that's a computer send you those emails. So, in order to make sure your resume gets in front of the hiring manager, you have to make sure your resume is formatted correctly to get around the applicant tracking system. Another obstacle that people are facing is just online job boards are not effective in themselves. So, and as I mentioned earlier, most jobs are filled before they ever even get to a job board, um, simply because when you're applying via online job board or a website, you're just some random candidate no one knows, candidate 100 of 1,000 other people that are applying for these positions, and no one knows you. And and we're going to get further into it when I talk about the hiring process. Most companies hire people they know. So online job boards, I'm not telling you not to use them. You can use them. You can use them to see what's out there, what jobs are hiring, what type of companies have the type of jobs you're looking for. But essentially, you want to use them as just that. You don't want to use that as your number one source for applying for jobs because they're just not effective. I read a stat a long time ago that said people that apply for jobs have such a low chance of getting jobs. And it showed 5%. So it's just not effective. Internal candidates. So again, employer and companies are hiring people that they know. So there's internal applicants. So there's people that are inside of these companies that are applying for these jobs. And they have an inside track over someone that's just using a job board. And then there's employee referrals. So let's say a company doesn't hire an internal applicant, they'll hire an employee referral. So someone that's been referred by someone inside the company. So with these four obstacles in place, amongst others, it's best to just go directly to the source now. I know like when I was younger, we were able to go directly to the source. So I was able to go to a grocery store and talk to a manager or go to a business and talk to a person responsible for hiring or maybe call in. You can't do that now. People are super busy. They don't want people walking in on them, and they just don't have time for that. They more than likely will refer you to apply online. But the good thing is, you still have to use those old school traditional methods of having direct interactions with employers. You just kind of change the way you're doing it now. And we're going to talk to those further. You still have to have those direct interactions, but you have to change how you're doing it. So let's talk a little bit more about the hiring process and how it works. So I've been on, executive teams where I've been responsible for hiring people, a part of the entire process, interviews, and all those things. And usually, this is kind of how it works. So, an employer, or you're going to say, the company that I worked for, we would have a job opening. The hiring manager asks the employees, do they know someone who can fill the position? So in the beginning, the hiring manager or the person that's directly responsible for hiring and is going to make that final decision, they're super, super involved during that process. They're going to go to the people they know. So they're going to say, hey, do you guys know anyone that would be a good fit for this opportunity? Yes, I know someone who's going to be a good fit. Great. They bring these people in for interviews, um, and that's kind of how it goes. Third, the hiring manager will post the job internally. So, they may go to an internal person that wants to change their department, or maybe they just want to kind of move up. It could be a promotion for them, but they're going to go to employee referrals and internal candidates first. And fourth, the hiring manager reviews resumes for referrals and internal applicants. So let's say, they look at those referrals and those internal applicants and they like them. Next, you'll see they're going to interview those referrals and those internal applicants. And if they like those applicants, the job is filled, so it never reaches the job board. So just think of the jobs that you're missing out on if you're only, depending on job boards, because a lot of times they never get there. They interview those internal applicants, they interview those employee referrals, they fill that position. They may even list it on a job board, but that's kind of like a formality. They already know who they want. And let's say they interview those people and they don't really feel like they're a good match for that opportunity. The next step is, they're going to give the position to a recruiter. So now the hiring manager is super hands off. They're going to go directly to a recruiter to find those jobs. The recruiter will conduct a search for qualified applicants, and then they're going to forward resumes to the hiring manager, and then they'll kind of do those interviews. But most of those jobs are filled before they ever even get to a recruiter. So you kind of want to get in a process before it ever even gets outside of the hands of the hiring manager. You want to go directly to the source. And let's think about it. People are more comfortable hiring people that either they know or someone else that they work with are comfortable with, because it just takes a lot of the work out of the equation. And then it's trust the people that they work with. If you're a good worker and you're going to refer someone, then they're going to trust your judgment and they're going to bring someone in that you refer. So let's talk about those 4 ways that you can have a direct interaction with the person responsible for hiring. So let's say tip number 1 is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great resource for connecting directly with nearly anyone inside of the company that you want to work for. So you can network directly with company insiders um, directly. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you need to get on LinkedIn. And you need to get on there fast, because mostly everyone is on there. And I was reading another article a couple of weeks ago, and it showed the disconnect between how employers and recruiters are looking for people for opportunities and the way that people that are looking for employment are looking for opportunities. And the findings show nearly 60-70% of employers are on LinkedIn. It's probably even more now. And that's the way they're looking for people when they're looking for opportunities. And as opposed to the way people that are looking for opportunities are looking for jobs, only 30% of those people are on LinkedIn. So it's an excellent way to find the person directly responsible for hiring or over that department. All you have to do is a quick basic search, pretty much. You can find anyone. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to try to give you guys an example of how to find somebody by using LinkedIn. So your screen may go black for a minute, but I'm going to come back on and just kind of show you my LinkedIn profile and show you how you can find people on there. One second, my computer is kind of moving slow. I don't know if it's going to let me do it. But you guys get the gist. I thought it was going to allow me to stop sharing my screen, but my computer is just acting not the right way now. But basically, if you're on LinkedIn, you want to go to the top of the page where it shows the advanced search, and you want to search for the company that you're interested in working for. You can kind of filter your results by searching where these people are located by zip code. You can search via keywords by showing, human resources or recruiter or whatever department they're in. And once you find them, you want to send a personal connection request. So you don't want to just, hit the connect with them button. You actually want to click on their page and directly request to connect with them. So study their page, see what type of commonalities you guys have in common. Do you have any similar connections? You know, maybe you're in a similar group, and if you're not in the same group they're in, the key and a quick tip for people that don't use LinkedIn as much: join that group that they're in, and you can actually send them a direct message via the group, as opposed to having to be connected with them. So, connect with them. And when you're connecting with them, you're not really asking them for a job because they don't know you. So you want to treat LinkedIn just as it would be in person. It has to be a mutually beneficial type of connection. So you have to show why you want to connect with them. And really, you're just asking for information. So maybe you can set up an informational interview, maybe a 2, 3 minute informational interview to ask them more about the company, what they're looking for, any type of advice for someone like you to get into a company like that. You're really asking for information. Don't get discouraged if you reach out to people and they just don't connect. You're gonna have to think volume in this case. So maybe try to connect with 5 people inside of that company. More than likely, one of them will connect with you. If you can get the hiring manager, great. But if you can't, just try to connect with anyone inside of the organization and try to build a relationship. The key is to be proactive. So you're connecting with these people before you're applying for jobs, meaning you're working off a target list. So you're not working on, you're going on Indeed or Monster and you're just randomly applying for jobs. The key is that you're being proactive. You have a target list of employers you want to work for, and you're actively connecting with people inside of those companies. So when opportunities come available, they know who you are. You're kind of on their radar, and you're not scrambling trying to connect with people when a position is kind of posted online, which is kind of late. So LinkedIn is a really good tip. Second way of connecting directly with people inside of the company and a hiring manager is good old snail mail. I know it's kind of old school. We have all different ways of connecting with people now. So we have email and, LinkedIn and social media and, we have Skype and all these different type of ways of connecting with people now. But snail mail, surprisingly, is super, super effective. The hard part about the snail mail thing is just finding out who the hiring manager is. And again, you can do that on LinkedIn. You could check the company website, maybe check your local chamber of commerce. The company might be mentioned there. You can Google the company and see if you can find, people in various departments. But more than likely, you're going to find them on LinkedIn. Mostly, nearly, no, I'm not going to say everyone, but a ton of people are on LinkedIn. So more than likely, you'll be able to find them on LinkedIn. Once you find them on LinkedIn, the hard part is done because you can Google the address, directly, address it to the person that's responsible for hiring. You want to get you a manila envelope, so you don't want to fold your resume. Get you a nice cover letter, or what I use as a pain letter that was created by Liz Ryan. It's really awesome. And if you guys are interested in that, I can actually send you a copy of that along with the presentation. But send that directly in the mail to them, and they're gonna open it. Just think, if someone sends you something, whether you're at work or at home, and it's direct and it has your name on it, you're at least going to open that up and see what it is. And if you have great marketing materials, more than likely, they're going to be enticed to give you a call. So let's stop. Do you guys have any questions right now? Any questions? Do you guys, I don't see any questions in the chat box. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them in that chat box. So we're going to keep moving. I'm going to go to tip number 3. Now, tip number 3 is email. Now, this is the hardest way to connect with people out of all the 4 ways that we're going to talk about, because it's just kind of hard to find emails. But actually, if you use this method that I have on the screen, it's not as hard as you think. Um, so you have to figure out how their email system works. So you can do that by searching Google. And if you use this method right here. So where it says email at companyurl.com, if you type in email and then you type at and then whatever company you're looking for.com, if anyone at that company has their email listed anywhere, it's going to show up. And once you figure out, you may have to be patient because again, you're going to get a ton of results, and it may more than likely be results from what the company wants you to see. So it may be a help desk link, or it may be a customer service link or something like that. But the key is, to keep searching, and figure out what format the company uses. Once you figure out the format, then it's pretty simple to plug in the person's email. So and they may have their email listed, so it may even be on their LinkedIn profile. It may be on a company website. It may be listed, so you may want to check there first. But more than likely, it's going to be first initial dot last name at companyurl.com, or last name first name at companyurl.com. And try it out. Just play around with it. The good thing about the email thing, it's going to go directly to them and it's going to be instantaneous. So if you get their email, it's going to go directly to them. But the key is, since you have so many different ways of sending emails, so let's say directly you try one in your normal email address box, but you have blind copy as well. So you can try maybe 5, 6 different versions of what you tried. More than likely, it's going to be one of them. One of them is going to be the one that's going to get to them. And the good thing about email is they have the option of when they want to check it. Make sure you really have a really creative subject. So if you just kind of put some boring, bland subject, then it won't grab their attention. But if you put something that's creative, something like, your next help desk rep, or something, it's something creative. Just be creative in the subject that you send. It'll grab their attention and it'll make them open it up. So when you send an email, you want to paste your cover letter or your paying letter, which I'm going to send to you guys, as the body of your email, and then attach your resume. So you don't really want to attach your cover letter because most people won't read it. Paste it as the body of your email, and then again attach your resume. Make sure you use a PDF if you're gonna send your resume via email because the formatting will change. So don't use a word version. And last but not least, the good old employee referral. So these are awesome. Having someone else advocate on your behalf is even more powerful than you connecting with them on your own, because they have direct access to the person responsible for hiring. A lot of these companies actually offer an employee referral program where they can get money for bringing you in. So you actually want to connect with people at companies you want to work for before inquiring about opportunities. You want to build professional relationships again. So it kind of comes back to being proactive. You have to be proactive in your job search. You have to have structure. You have to have a plan. So you're not just randomly applying for a job online that you just kind of ran into. If you see a job online, make sure you do some research on that company to make sure it's going to be a good fit, sorry, a good fit for your values, and your career goals, and then move forward. So don't just randomly apply for a job, especially since we spend so much time at our jobs. Why waste your time? You may go to a place where you hate it. You get there, you get the job, you hate it. Just do that research. Make sure that it's going to be a good fit for what you're looking for as well. So I hope you guys, really got these 4 tips. If you're using these 4 tips, you're going to get more responses, and you're going to figure out, is there something that I'm doing wrong, or is there something with my marketing materials? You may get some feedback directly from the people responsible for hiring, and then you can go from there. But if you're just sitting around and you're applying for jobs and you're waiting weeks and weeks and weeks for people to kind of get back to you, you won't really get that feedback, and you'll be in limbo, kind of figure out where to go. So you have to go directly to the source now. Get around that applicant tracking system because it kind of weeds out a lot of qualified candidates. This way, you're going to know directly, without a doubt, that your resume is going to get in front of the person responsible for hiring. And if it's great, then you're going to get a call for that interview, more than likely. So let me tell you more about how to connect with us. Of course, you can go to my website, www.careerskyrocket.com. You can go to my YouTube page. You can actually just search for me under Darius Harris. And you can send me an email directly. So my email address is dharris@careerskyrocket.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on there as well. I'm on Twitter as well. So you can look me up just under Darius Harris. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm going to send a copy of this presentation out to everyone who registered. So don't worry about that. I also attached the pain letter as well. Thank you guys for joining me, and I look forward to having you guys for future presentations. I'll try to do one of these every month, every other month, or something like that. I have a super busy schedule, so I'll try to do more. If you guys have any requests for any presentations that you guys would like to see, send them to me in the email, and I'll definitely work on getting one together for you. And again, thank you guys for joining me, and have a great rest of your Saturday. And thanks again.